them if I could. And something tells me that I should, that I should, that I should.
Welcome to Life After Bay, the podcast for all life and love forms of Arcadia Bay and beyond. I'm your host Martin, as known as It's Me Maxine. Even if I don't want to mix real-world events with Life is Strange and this podcast, I cannot deny that the current world situation has an impact on me and of course on a lot of other people directly or indirectly involved. I just want to say that all our love and thoughts are going to these people, and we wish you all the best for you and your loved ones. For instance, the Twitter account of Liz Timer is reporting in short intervals about their current situation in the Ukraine. I know this is a hard cut, but I think we also need a kind of normality and things to distract us, even if this may sound harsh and cold, but we are all humans. This time I will interview Biscuit from Retrozone Studios, and we will talk about their upcoming visual novel Life is Strange Aftermath, which will be published soon, and of course all things Life is Strange. This time there will be no news section. Kudos again to Christina, as known as Riley Hawk, for letting me use her Life is Strange inspired music for the podcast, R3 Tios for the new podcast cover, and Olya Rue for the original cover. Now to the interview with Biscuit. This time I have Biscuit from Retrozone Studios with me, and I will interview him about their upcoming visual novel Life is Strange Aftermath. So welcome Biscuit to the podcast, and please introduce yourself.
So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me on. It's pretty exciting to be on like a podcast. I mean, I've done some myself, but never been like a guest on one. So this is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, my name is Biscuit. My Discord nickname is the same thing, but with an uwu on it. However, I'll just go by Biscuit. That's just like some, changing up some stuff. I go by that mostly. I kind of have a job. I don't like calling it a job. To me, it feels more like a hobby, but I work as a writer and as a plot outliner for visual novels.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, you'll find me trying to write something for someone, and I get paid on like a freelancing kind of work. Kind of how artists, you will ask them to draw you something. People will ask me to write something for them based on the characters that they have and stuff. So that's what I mostly work with.
Mm-hmm.
However, I see it more like as a hobby because I really enjoy writing. So that's pretty interesting. On the second part, I have a lot of hobbies. Mostly, a lot of them include like singing, but most of the time I'm playing video games. I really like playing video games. And it kind of ties in with the fact that I really like Life is Strange, mostly since I played it a couple of years ago. And most of the time I like playing fighting games. Fighting games are really interesting and they're always super cool. And I live in Mexico, just in case. Some people don't really get it, as in I don't usually talk Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
but I really like talking in English. I learned it when I was a child, and nowadays
Oh, okay.
I'm currently living in Mexico and I speak Spanish natively. So if that's a fact, that's what people wanted to know, then there you go.
Okay, nice. Thanks for the introduction. So, as you said, you liked Life is Strange. Of course, we are here because of Life is Strange. And I start with the questions. The most famous question is how and when you got into the video game franchise of Life is Strange.
I've seen a lot of answers, and most of them have to do with. Indeed, I watched the Let's Play back in the day by a guy from Chile that played it and never finished it, by the way. But I found the concept of like time traveling interesting. I mean, by this time, I'm like, I don't know, like the game released in 2014, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really remember, but it was like a long time ago. So you could say that I got into it like, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time that I played it was just because the game was on sale on Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
So I played through it, and that's how I got into it, mostly because of the Let's Player. And I liked it because it reminded me a lot about back in the day, like The Walking Dead. like those games that are really, really long and it's narrative and you make decisions. I found those super, super cool, and thus I wanted to like play Life is Strange because I saw that it was the same concept, but with something that I liked more than zombies.
Hmm. Yeah, that's for sure. Okay. I have to admit that I never played the Telltale games. Shame on me. But that is another story. Life is Strange was for me the first game for, I don't know, 20 years or so. So, yeah, but yeah, cool.
The Telltale games are interesting, mostly as in
Hmm.
like they were, in my opinion, kind of the pioneer of the genre. Well, not pioneer because narrative games have existed for a while, but
Yeah.
like the first kind of those games that really, really, really blew up. And I played it, and I was like super emotional during it. And I never even heard about like The Walking Dead. I never saw it. I never saw the comics nor the show. So
Okay. And yeah, talking about Life is Strange, what was so special about it for you?
that's a hard question. You could say one of the big parts about it was the style, like the art.
Hmm.
Some people don't think that it looks good, but I believe that the game has this feeling of watercolor.
Hmm.
It feels like it's some sort of painting. It's like some stuff is like blurred out. I think blurred out is not the word that I'm looking for, but like the style is really, really deliberate. The Walking Dead looks cartoony, while Life is Strange looks a little bit more like art. And I guess one of the things that I liked the most was the time traveling. That was super special to me. Like being able to make decisions and then going back like a little bit in time and having the question for an answer. Well, the answer for a question. That was super cool to me. And especially chapter two. Chapter two was one of my favorite chapters ever. Like in anything I've played. So that was really the things that got me into the game.
Yeah, totally understand. For sure. And with Kate, it was absolutely special. Yeah. And was there some say aha or life-changing moment for you during the game or after the game, maybe?
Well, I wouldn't call it that. That sounds a little too dramatic, but there were some moments that I really, really like. Not necessarily about Life is Strange 1 specifically, since that's the one that I like the most. Actually, no, it's a little hard to say. So, first of all, I want to call Life is Strange one of my favorite games of all time.
Hmm.
I have a little bit of problems with the grinding. The grinding is sometimes clumsy. However, the one of the things that I liked the most was during before the storm, the tempest scene. That was
Hmm.
definitely one of my favorite scenes in media. Like the dialogue is so well written. That is definitely like a moment that I love. Like I absolutely love. And the endings for Life is Strange one both are saving Arcadia Bay and sacrificing. Well, no, wait, and sacrificing it
Hmm.
like Spanish Sahara over the montage after Chloe's dead. That's one of my favorite moments. And I think it sounds super cliche now that I realize, but Spanish Sahara is one of my favorite songs, and it has to do a lot with Life is Strange. Or with the scene, as in like Chloe's hugging Max as they watch the
Hmm.
tornado go over the bay. So
Hmm.
those moments were really good. And then during True Colors, I don't know if this counts
It's okay.
because we're talking mainly about the first games. But during True Colors, some of my favorite scenes were like absolutely the ending. Both of the endings. Seeing when Gabe is talking about what is going to happen to Alex's life
Mm.
after she moves on. That's really cool to me. So those moments are definitely standouts to me.
Mm. Yeah, that's right. And after you played Life is Strange, mostly people get into the fandom and the community. So how and when did you get into the fandom then?
After True Colors came out, I was a little young when Life is Strange came out, and I was not really into Discord and talking with people online. I was mostly just like running around with my friends and having fun. But
Hmm.
when Life is Strange True Colors came out, I played it with my boyfriend, and it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. So that's when some other stuff happened, and I joined the Life is Strange discourse because I wanted to see like public opinion on the game. I heard some people that really didn't like it, that they think it was not as powerful as the first ones. and some people that absolutely loved True Colors. And I really, really, really liked True Colors. So I went in, and even though I was not active, I was definitely looking at people talk about the games. And from what I've seen, it's really a welcoming community. I'm in 3 different servers, and all of them are really, there are a lot of nice people. But just to shorten it, after True Colors came out, if I'm not mistaken, it was like during during the end of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got the game on sale because it had the remastered collection. And then we played it, and then I got into the community. So you could say that it was not that long ago.
Yeah, okay. That's absolutely fine. So welcome to the community then. Yeah. So you didn't play Life is Strange 2, or did you play it already in between, or?
I haven't played Life is Strange 2, but from everything I've seen, people like it. So I've seen people fight about Life is Strange 1, True Colors, and Before the Storm daily, but I have never seen anyone disagree that Life is Strange 2 is a good game. So I'm really excited, and I want to play it. I don't know. Well, admittedly, one of the elements that also got me to Life is Strange 1 was like the relationship between like Chloe and Max,
Mm-hmm.
and then Before the Storm, it's Rachel and Chloe, and then True Colors is Alex and Steph. So it doesn't have those elements to me. However, I want to play it since public opinion of the game seems to be really, really really highly thought about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can only recommend it. So it's absolutely different from Life is Strange. So I think when you give it a fresh start and see it from different eyes, different angle and different view, then it's absolutely a fantastic story. Yeah. But yeah, check it out. So, talking about the fandom, what do you like the most about the fandom, even if you're just shortly joined the fandom?
So first of all, I gotta answer with like the opposite thing. Every day I see people fighting about ships, and to me that's kind of fun. I don't find it annoying. A lot of people find it really pressuring. I don't find it like that. I think that's normal. Like being in so many fandoms, like for example, Danganronpa, you're gonna see people fight about that all the time, and I find it fun. I think there's a lot of reasons to like the characters, and what I like the most, it's just like the dedication to an old game. Like Life is Strange 1 is an old game. And most of the references in it, because I play Life is Strange 1 at least like 2 times a year. And if you look at the game's old. Like it has a lot of things that are dated, but I love the dedication. Like seeing people write fanfic about it and seeing people discuss about the characters. I like the active involvement that there is. And right now, with the release of the remastered collection and True Colors, it seems like the fandom is like bursting back up to life.
Yeah.
Seeing all of these fan games and Discord communities and seeing everyone talk about what they like and what they don't like, I think that it's also a really open community. I've never seen anyone get discriminated,
Hmm.
which I have seen in other communities, but I think Life is Strange naturally attracts a lot of people from different spheres of life, different sexual orientations, from different countries, like a lot of things. So that's what I like the most, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people say that. It's also for me, it's the diversity of the community is one of the main strengths here. As we talk about the fandoms, so what platforms are usually around when you get new input or get involved?
Mostly Discord, like active community stuff, definitely Discord. Then it would be Twitter, and then it would be Tumblr.
Hmm.
But those three are very, 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 they're really active. However, if I'm looking just to actively talk about stuff, it's going to be Discord. Twitter is just like I pop in, comment on a couple of things about the game, and that's it. And Tumblr, I just post my stuff on there with my boyfriend, and that's about it. However, those are the main platforms. I think Discord is the best one.
Mm, yeah. When you think about the fandom, as you said, there are drawings, cosplay, fan fictions. What do you like the most and why?
Oh, I think it's mostly hmm, fan art. I
Hmm.
haven't been able to read a lot of the fan fiction with
Hmm.
stuff that I like in it. Of course, that's not to say that it's bad. Like, it's definitely not bad. I've read a lot of it, like stuff that I personally don't like. like ships that I find toxic, and I see the writers, and they are extremely talented.
Mm.
So it's not that; it's more just like I haven't been able to find a lot of the things that I want.
Mm-hmm.
However, in the fan art scene, there's a lot of stuff, like really, really good artists.
Mm-hmm.
For example, just recently there was this piece of fan art I remember that it got commissioned and blew up everywhere, and it was like all of the characters from Life is Strange in one image. That was really cool. I think it was made by Renex Art, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really good piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen a lot of like simplistic art styles, complicated art styles. If you look at some other fan projects, they are really, really, really detailed in what they've done. And the best thing about fan art is that through one image, you're able to tell like a really interesting story and put some other characters that otherwise wouldn't get along together. So, while fanfic is mostly full of stuff don't, uh, I don't look for. Fan art has always been really good, and there are a number of artists in the community that I've seen. They're extremely talented, and I would love to one day work with them. Maybe ask them for a commission. So fan art is 100% the thing that I like the most in the community. Everyone's super good at it, and some cosplayers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that into cosplay myself, but they are good at what they do. So those are the three main ones.
Yeah. Talking about fan art, and of course we are talking about later on about the visual novel, but Shemtazi asked on the Life is Strange Discord server, did you play any other fan project? I think they mean any fan project of Life is Strange, I think, of course.
Yeah, like fan games or stuff like that, right?
Yeah, correct.
I remember sitting on BC with my boyfriend, and he told me that he one time saw a dating simulator for Life is Strange.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't believe it. I thought it was a joke. So I told him to show it to me. And apparently the game is called Love is Strange.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one I played.
Ah, okay.
In general, I liked it. I think the art style was really good. However, first of all, I thought it was a little short.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it makes sense because there's like four different routes you can go for, and there's like two endings or like three endings per route. However, I sat down, I played the Kate route because it's Kate, right? And it was really interesting. And then I researched a bit more about the studio. It's Rumblebee, Team Rumblebee. They made two other games. Apparently, they're like no longer actively making stuff. So that's a little sad. But I played Love is Strange. I see that a lot of people liked it, and I think it's good. Some stuff that I don't like, but I think that happens with any piece of media. Like, there's nothing is really perfect.
Yeah.
So the game was interesting. I didn't get hooked on it enough to play the other three routes, but props to the team for making something like this. And I think the best thing about Love is Strange is that everyone's there. Like, there's no Jefferson killed someone. There's no trauma. It's just a fun game to like explore the relationships with characters that otherwise you wouldn't be able to have in the main games. So that's a fan game I've played. I've seen some other projects. I saw there's like a comic and there's another fan game. I think it's After the Storm. So maybe I'll check those out in the future.
Yeah, it's I don't know if you heard the last episode. I don't know if you mean John Tsoukalis and Life After the Storm. Yeah.
I'll talk about it on like another question because it has to do with the game that we're producing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, perfect. As you said, you're a writer, so I only knew you, of course, for your current project with Retrozone and the visual novel we are talking later on, Life is Strange Aftermath. But something about you, so how you got into story writing and visual novel design?
So I got into story writing when I was 10.
Oh.
It was terrible. Like, it was absolutely terrible. Of course, like, you're first starting as a writer and you're writing like in such a bad way. If I were to go back and read what I put out, I would definitely die of like cringe. Like, it's so bad. Um there used to be like this anime. I remember that. Like a lot of writers when they start, it's fan fiction about anime. That's from what I've seen. That's like incredibly common. Um, and I got into this football anime. It was named Inazuma 11, and I really like the show. By the way, the show is cool. It was really fun to watch, mainly when I was a kid. And if I were to watch it nowadays, I wouldn't find it bad. I would find it interesting. So I started writing that with one of my best friends at high school, during elementary school,
Mm-hmm.
and we wrote for like 3 years together, and it was a lot of romance stories and some more dark stories. So most of it, I've never taken like a course, like a formal course. Of course, I've taken classes of writing, like creative writing and stuff, for a couple of years, and that's definitely helped me out. However, my main way of getting into it was through that. However, and there were some times in which I didn't want to write, because I saw it as just like a bar hobby. Like if you compare writing with games, if I could only take one, I would probably play games. Games are 100% one of the things that define me as a person.
Mm-hmm.
However, writing is incredibly fun. So I went through it for like a long, long time, like writing terrible stuff, and then I started getting better with the years. I think writing, and I don't know, if this goes out to any writers that don't feel like they are good enough. It happens with everyone. Like an artist that is incredibly good and has like an absolutely massive fan base is not going to feel confident all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an art that takes a long, long time. And I believe that writing, compared to drawing, for example, there's no set techniques. Until like, oh, you can check out this resource. Writing is a lot about the media you've watched, the media that you have been inspired by. There's so many it's so hard to get into writing sometimes. But just write what you like. And I think that if I had gotten into writing later on, I wouldn't be here, or I probably would have dropped it.
Mm-hmm.
But since I did it when I was a kid and I didn't realize that it was terrible, I just kept going. I'm happy that I didn't realize it was really bad.
Imagine. So, but it's absolutely cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Talking about like writing in general, uh, I mean it's hard. It's incredibly hard to like sit down and actually put the work into it. And most artists, even if they draw, if they are animators, if they are writers, we all
Mm-hmm.
procrastinate. Like it's such a bad thing. I want to sit down and write, and then I like get distracted by like I don't know my cat going by, and then I don't work for another hour. So it's hard, but if you like it, there's this thing that I heard once, and it's if you did it with care and passion, and if you put your
Mm-hmm.
best into it, then that means that it's good. And
Yeah. Yeah.
one thing I remember asking, there's like this really big visual novel Discord community that has helped us out a lot, and I'll talk about it further in the other points.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I remember asking the writers, like how do they feel confident about their own writing? And even
Mm-hmm.
though they said it with a really like not really nice tone, I really agree with it. And it's most of the people that are going to be reading your stuff don't know a thing about writing. They don't
Mm-hmm.
know a lot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
most people that do art, they should feel the same way. If you like it, then there's someone out there that will like it. So just feel confident in what you do, and just you gotta keep going. And hey, if your daughter's starting ever since she's young, as long as she's having fun, I'm pretty sure she'll grow into a really good writer.
Yeah, we'll see. As you said, there's a team also behind you, and you think, I'm not sure if you will tell about it soon, I think, about the Retrozone project. So when did you start the project?
So first of all, if you can call it, the official members, like the people that I would call part of the Retrozone Studios
Hmm.
studio. I don't know. We call it studios, but it's fun. It's just me and my boyfriend Como. The others, they are more commissioned by. So
Hmm.
they are not formally in our team. They are working with
Hmm.
us, and we're extremely happy with them. And we of course credit them a lot for what they've done. Like a lot of them have had to work like extremely quick. Like
Hmm.
and we'll see in a little bit about those. But our team is just me and my boyfriend. We started working on the visual novel after finishing Love is Strange. I remember one day sitting down with my boyfriend and we were just like talking, and I told him, "Hey, we should play Life is Strange together because the dialogue in Life is Strange is so funny.
Mhm.
Like I love the dialogue. It's a great. Uh, we went through the game. We finished the playthrough. We played Love is Strange, and after finishing the Kate route, I realized that Max and Kate have a really interesting relationship that is not explored in the game.
Yeah. Hmm.
They are not. They are like technically best friends, but you never see them interact a lot. But you can interact with Warren more than you can interact with Kate, which is a little jarring to me. And the Kate route in Love is Strange, it was good. However, I thought that it could be explored like in a deeper way.
Hmm.
So then I pitched the idea to my boyfriend in a joke. I told him, "Hey, I mean, if someone can do a visual novel, if they can do a visual novel, we can do a visual novel too, right? Because visual novels are not that intense in coding. So it's mostly the writing and the art that's hard. But coding a visual novel is not hard. Well, not hard. It's more like it's a tedious task. Like it's really long,
Hmm.
but it's not like coding a shooter game, right?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So then it went from a joke to being something that we would actually do.
Hmm.
The project officially started in November, although we have been talking about it at the end of October. And we became Retrozone Studios this February. No, this what? The end of January?
Hmm.
So I don't know when I made my account on Twitter, but the Retrozone Studios Twitter, when it was born, that's the beginning of our actual studio. Before that, we didn't even plan to be a studio. We just planned to be like, oh, we're just making a game. So the official date in which everything became a formal project was in November, and Retrozone Studios was born in the 4th of February of 2022.
Okay. Wow. Then it's quick, I think. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So when we'll ask a question, what were your projects over time? So there were no projects, but of course there were projects before Retrozone projects of studios, of course. I think, isn't it?
There haven't been any other projects. I mean, we planned on working on another visual novel that's technically in the works, but we haven't been putting a lot into it. We've been focusing on this one.
Okay. So your current project is, of course, getting out the visual novel Life is Strange Aftermath. So we'll talk in a bit. You are doing this project. And so, is there anything like you take commissions or you have Patreon or anything like that? Or do you do just for fun at the moment?
I currently take commissions for writing. I'm a plot outliner. So what I do is some people have a lot of trouble putting their story into coherent terms. So you can be like, I want it to be a Yuri game with these characters, but you don't know how to structure it. Like you don't know where you should go from the beginning. So what I do for people is I help them plan out their game, and in some cases, I'm a scriptwriter. I'm currently working on a really long visual novel, approximately 60,000 words.
Okay. Yeah.
So I take commissions and writing. So, that's what I do mostly.
Mhm.
Our studio does not take commissions, and we plan on making a Patreon or something like that. Actually, we wanted to do it. We wanted to do it, but I thought that it would be a little weird that we start taking commissions or like money when we haven't even showed the game. I don't want it to seem like we're trying to get money just for the sake of getting money. So we want to put out the game, and then if people want to donate, if people like what we do, then we'll 100% put it out. Like the day that the demo goes live, we're gonna put it out, and hey, if people want to help us out, then.
Mhm.
But I personally only take those kinds of commissions. Not at the moment, as I'm like swamped with work. I have so much stuff to do. However, I take that from time to time. So first of all, I forgot like the first part of the other question. The project is currently going good. Um, so one thing that we have to keep in mind is that we only started right now, but we could have started in December. because the writing for chapter 1 was done in December. Uh, and currently we have chapter 2 done, and we have chapter 3 done at a half.
Wow. Okay.
But we thought that would be cool to show people what we were working on. So the project is already really advanced. It's just that we never considered art. Like we didn't know what to do with that. And then once I started working as a writer, we were able to find artists. And because I don't want to just ask people, "Hey, can you work for me for free?" That feels a little exploitive. And I think
Yeah.
artists do so much work just to not get paid. So we've been trying our best to pay everyone that we work with, and we've currently done that. So the project is going good.
Okay. Yeah. As you said, you will do future projects, or some are already in the making, or you have future ideas. Are there any limitations or no-goes for you?
And as for no goes,
Hmm.
um, I mean, we don't want to work with anything that is like pornographic, like nothing that is sexual or stuff like that. Personally, as a writer, I have a little bit of trouble writing it. Not because I'm uncomfortable, because it's just that I don't have experience with that. However, I cannot think of anything that I'm like, I don't want to go here. It's more like certain topics that I have a hard time writing about because I don't know how to do it in a respectful way. So, for example, we try to steer clean from like themes of suicide or like self harm. Those topics are harsh. Like it's easy to just say that a character is going through it, but putting it in a way that is respectful to like the victims that go through that is not easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wouldn't call it limitations, more as in we don't want to write something that is not actually representative of what it is like. We don't want to just write it and be like, oh, that's it. It feels like bait, like, oh, my visual novel is so cool because I wrote self harm. But that's about it for now. We don't have those kinds of things. Just we're trying to like write what we know about and something that we can actually represent.
Mm-hmm. Come to Life is Strange Aftermath in a minute. So, as you said, you have something in the making and some dreams. So, are there any like wild dreams you have, what you like to make, or whom you would like to work with?
I don't think there's anyone that comes to mind when you say
Mm-hmm.
work with. There's a lot of artists that I've seen that I would love to absolutely have. But first of all, yeah, it's not that easy.
Mm-hmm.
But apart from that, I am happy just writing with my boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fun.
That's fine.
It's really fun working as a couple. And if we
Mm-hmm.
work with someone else, we absolutely love it. Everyone that we have worked with has been great. So I'm assuming that in the future, everyone will be the same. And I have two things that I always wanted to work on. First of all, I always wanted to work on a Yuri Victorian visual novel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our next project.
Okay.
But it's going to take a while to work on because this project is really heavy. We thought it would be easier, but it's definitely not easy. So that's one of my dreams, and I always wanted to work on a manga that I have the concept for. It's just actually writing it and getting to it is not easy. For now, those are my two dream projects. However, if things go well after this game, we'll definitely keep working on this kind of stuff. And it's been amazing, and I'm sure we'll tackle that in the future.
Yeah. I'm happy to see that in the future. Yeah. Finally, talking about your visual novel, Life is Strange Aftermath. So you already talked about it, how you get the idea for this project. As you said, yeah, you get it after playing Life is Strange, and then have this idea for this project. Any addition to that, to the idea for this project?
The one thing that I would only add is that after the endings of Life is Strange,
Mm-hmm.
it's not clear what can or will happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like after Arcadia Bay gets saved, you only see the funeral and you don't know what will happen next. So you have to keep in mind. Well, look, let's talk about the Chloe ending first. Like once they go out of Arcadia Bay, you kind of have an idea of what they could go for,
Mm-hmm.
especially after Before the Storm. Like, hey, just go on. Like Chloe says to Rachel, we can just go on the road, And I assumed that would happen with Max. So I
Mm-hmm.
was kind of okay with that ending. However, whenever I play Life is Strange, I usually save the bay mainly because I think, oh, Kate will die. I don't like that. So the problem with that ending is that you reset to the beginning of the week,
Yep. Hmm.
and everyone is going through problems now. Kate is still getting bullied. Joyce has just had her daughter die. There's a lot of things that are still going on. I mean, Jefferson and Nathan get arrested, but like the consequences of that are still like happening, and the game just kind of ends.
Hmm. Mm.
So we thought, what if we wrote a game about the consequences of Chloe's death on
Mm.
Max, on Kate, on everyone in the cast? And that was the first idea. And also another thing that made us write it, that got us more into it, is that in True Colors, especially wavelengths, it's mentioned that Steph and Mikey are in Arcadia Bay at the time
Correct. Mm.
when Chloe dies. So we thought there has to be something going on. So that's how we got the main idea. The first idea was just, how about we write a game about Max and Kate dating? But that was a little too simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
We went for that other idea.
Mm. Okay. There's this famous Bay or over Bay. So I wonder that you choose this path because I think there are some fan fictions and some fan art and so on, but mostly it's always the other way around. So I think it's cool that you choose this path. I'm excited to see what you done there. Yeah. Your Retrozone Studios, your team with the boyfriend. And as you said, you are the one who's doing the writing. So can I ask what other team members you have or other commissions you have on your visual novel project?
So yes, I am the writer, and everything you'll see is planned out by me. Nothing in the writing is affected by anyone except some people that have helped us edit and correct mistakes, as in grammar and sentence structure. So our team is composed by me as the writer, my boyfriend Como, uh, on Discord. You can find him as that too. He's the coder for the game. He's doing everything technical.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the two big roles. Then we have or MVP, absolute MVP, Rubik draws.
Mm-hmm.
We commissioned her, and most of her Twitter is showing off the art that she's been working on, and it's amazing. We found her on the visual novel Discord that we talked about the other day. Most of her team members come from that place.
Ah, okay. Mm-hmm.
It's called Dev Talk. Yeah, so it's called Dev Talk, and it's an active community for people that are playing visual novels and making visual novels.
Mm-hmm.
And we hired a lot of people from there. So Rubik, we found her there. We found four different artists actually, that wanted to help us out, and we whittled them down because they were all really really good. However,
Mm-hmm.
Rubik had a specific style, and she was really friendly to us. So she's the main artist behind the game. She's doing the sprites, and she's doing the CGs for the game.
Mm-hmm.
She's been working really fast with us, and she's been really nice. So, props to her. Then we have the logos for the game, like the Life is Strange Aftermath, the banner, and the Retrozone logo was
Mm-hmm.
done by another guy that came from the Dev Talk server. They're called Sashanes. However, they don't have any social media. So sadly, I cannot link them. So sorry about that. But they made a really good logo.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the logo is inspired by 13 Reasons Why season two. So if you don't know that is like, the characters are like just looking somewhere, and there's a photo frame on their eyes, which reveals like a twisted nature of sorts.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So taking into account that Max is a photographer, it made a lot of sense. Uh, so we went through that. Then the banner is really simple. It's just Blackwell. It has like a watercolor feeling to it, and that's the main theme for the game. We want it to feel like a painting. So Rubik's coloring is mostly watercolor. Sashane's logos are watercolor, as well as her studio. So they are the main guy that did that for us. So thanks to them. Then we have I am Julia again. You can find her on Tumblr, on Twitter. under different names like cinnamon bun roll of doom, some stuff like that. She's doing the text box and the main menu and pause menu for the game. She's a close friend to me. We actually work on Vocaloid covers together. Well, that's another hobby, but
Mm-hmm.
um, she's a really nice friend, so she has been doing that for us. And the only other role that we have is one of my real life friends. They're called Ari, uh, and they are doing the backgrounds for the game. Right now,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
most of the backgrounds that people have been able to see are taken straight from the concept art of the game, because we need to have something in the background. Uh, but we're going to change that after the demo. We don't want to use official art from the game because that's lazy.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been doing the backgrounds, and that's the team. That's the team that we have currently.
You talked already about the backstory of the visual novel. I'm not sure if you want to say something about, or if you want to say, okay, you might spoil too much.
I mean, it's not it's not that hard. I can just say like the synopsis. So
Mm-hmm.
the game takes place after the Saving the Bay ending, since that's the ending that my boyfriend and I chose most of the time. You know, no disrespect to Max and Chloe fans, because I really like how they look together, but like thinking about Kate dying, no, that hurts me so much. We chose that ending, and we wanted to explore the possibilities after that. Although I also thought personally, I didn't commented on the project about what would happen if we saved Chloe and have a visual novel for that, but we can talk about it later. The game just takes place right after that. So like after the funeral scene, that's when our visual novel kicks over, and it explores Max trying to fix the like what happens after Chloe's death. So for example, Kate, the best example we can have as the game revolves around Kate is during chapter 2 of Life is Strange. She's going through a lot of problems with like the video that is leaked from her. She's getting actively bullied by Victoria. Even if Nathan is gone, like she's getting bullied. So the game revolves around saving her again, like saving her from everything that's been happening to her, as well as trying to make amends with other characters, like Victoria helping Joyce out, making new friends, meeting Steph, because we wanted to include Steph in the game since she's like our second favorite character ever. Without spoiling anything, it's all about Max trying to fix the future just to make Chloe's death worth it.
Hmm. So we always will play as Max. So you cannot choose another player. So you always play as Max, right?
Yes, since most of the plot for the great part of it is Max also dealing with the trauma of Chloe dying and trying to like at the same time as this is going on, she still has to help Kate. She has to help other people. So it's like this balance of trying to stop grief, like her own grief over Chloe, and feeling like it was not her fault. So
Hmm.
you can only play as Max, and I don't think we will ever change that. Mainly as we don't have an idea of what the other characters will be like as protagonists. So yeah, you will be playing as Max.
Hmm. Okay, fine. I have another fan question. I think you answered it already, but maybe you have another twist on it to it. Shamtazi asked also on the Life is Strange fans Discord server why you decided to go for Marshfield.
I mean, I guess listening. I remember the first time I ever thought about Marshfield as a ship was when they mentioned that they drank tea together.
Mhm.
That seemed extremely sweet to me. Like that didn't feel like just a normal thing between friends. And of course, it makes sense that they're just friends, right? But they just seem so. It just seems so interesting. Like Kate is like really supportive, and Max is like kind of cold. Not cold necessarily. She's just not that receptive to me. She doesn't come across as a character that actively like gives back love in a relationship. So we chose Marshfield mainly because in our heads, after Chloe's death, it makes sense that Kate was trying to support Max as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So having that, having the tea dates, and just hearing that the relationship apparently is like really deep, but it never being explored in the game, we definitely wanted to write something for that. So Marshfield is the main ship, mainly as Kate is extremely supportive of Max, especially after Chloe's death. Uh, and they are really close together. So, and also, they just look really cute together. So, that helps out a lot in choosing what to write.
But I could totally understand that you choose Marshfield, so I think that's totally fits, yeah.
Right. I mean, they're best friends and they support each other a lot. To me, it also sounds really healthy as to compare to, like, I don't know, something like Rachel and Chloe, which is a little bit more shaky.
Mm-hmm.
And, we wanted to write something that felt a little bit more natural. I'm not saying that the other relationships don't feel natural. It's just, it feels like logic to me. Like, they're really, really, really good friends.
Mm.
So it devolving into romance just seems fitting to me.
Yeah. So I think I have another fan question from, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but I try from Wofira Morrigan. Is at Clan Oraculus. They asked on Twitter, will there be a different story for those who choose Chloe over Arcadia Bay? But I think it's also already answered.
I mean, it's a little tough to say. We want to focus on the part with, how can I say it? We want to focus on the Marshfield part. And for that to happen, you have to sacrifice Chloe. So Chloe is not an active member in the game. She's just there for the beginning, and that's about it. However, we were thinking about expanding the game once it's done. We wanted to write a couple of short stories, and one of them would definitely include Chloe. So, well, it won't be featured in the main game in the future if we get enough support, if we like it, if it's fun to write, because we're not going to write, I don't want to write something. We don't want to make something that we don't feel passionate about.
Mm-mm.
So if that were to happen, it would probably be after the ending of her main game. That's sort of extra. We were thinking about making some sort of dating simulator after the game is done, just like some extra content. However, we'll see about that in the future. But I am mostly leaning towards writing it as a couple of extra chapters, like between Max and Chloe, Max and Victoria, some other stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited. Okay, we'll see. The question was addressed something like it's done for Life is Strange 2, I think. And I'm not sure if you know it, but because you can say on Life is Strange 2, you can choose in the beginning if you sacrificed Arcadia Bay or not, and then some scenes are changing in Life is Strange 2. So I think maybe they asked in this direction. But as you said, for your story, it's the way you choose it. That's okay.
Right. And I think that once we play Life is Strange 2, because I think we're gonna do it soon, definitely. The game goes on sale a lot, so I want to try it out. So once we played that, I feel like I want to see like where they are. I want to understand more what happens after they both get away from Arcadia Bay, because I don't remember I don't remember seeing anything about that except that they exist. Like there's a picture of the pair living after and doing Life is Strange 2, and they look really cool. So I would definitely like to write that once I know more about it.
I don't spoil anything. So yeah, okay. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm not sure if I asked it already, but I think most people will ask if there are different endings to your story.
Yeah, they're different. There are different endings.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
We were planning once we see the coding, because coding some decisions is not super easy. However, we were mainly planning for the main good ending, probably a bad ending, and the good ending has two different variations. Without spoiling much, I want to make well, I'll mention it later. But Victoria and Steph play a really big role in our game, mainly as co-protagonists, depending on your choices. Uh, so we were expecting Two different good endings.
Mhm.
One with Steph, two with Victoria, and Kate, and a bad ending. So you should be expecting four different endings.
Oh, okay. Whoa. I think I'm not sure if that was asked, but maybe it's my question. Are there different languages planned, or is it first in English?
So we're definitely releasing on English as the main language. That's how everything was written.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll be in charge of translating it to Spanish, since that's my native tongue. So the game is definitely coming in Spanish.
Okay.
It will not be during launch, that's for sure. Like as soon as we release the demo, we're taking a bit of a break because it's been exhausting. Like it's been really, really hard.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting someone to translate the game into French. On Twitter, they sent us a DM, and we want to work with them. So the game will definitely be probably French, Spanish, and English.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So, is there voiceover planned, and maybe you know who will be doing it for the project?
We're we're extremely sad because we got a really good voice actor for Kate. However, some stuff happened, and we are not going to be able to work with them anymore.
Okay.
So that's a little tragic. However, we did get an application for Max's voiceover, and we haven't gotten the recordings. But as soon as we do, we will probably have voiceover for Max. Or we don't know if we should get the voiceover or the voice actress to just do the voice lines or the thoughts. However, it is
Mm-hmm.
we never planned for it to happen. We didn't expect it. However, if we get like enough voice actors that are available to work with us, even if we didn't plan for it because we don't have a budget for it.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that should be known is that the game comes from like our own money, and it's we don't want to get into prices because it sounds a little. I don't like talking about that part. It sounds like I'm telling people, yeah, I spent a lot, so you better play.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to sound like that, but a lot of that money comes from us, from our work, like money that we would use on other hobbies. We want to put it into the project,
Mm-hmm.
and we never planned for voiceover. So
Mm-hmm.
some boys actors have contacted us, and they want to help us out, even if there's no payment involved, and we're extremely happy for that. So if we get enough voice actors, like 3 or 4, then we will definitely have voiceover. From what it's looking like, we will probably have voice actors.
Yeah. Okay. As you said, you have a big team, and so you already have all the roles and stuff filled out. So, do you need any help or support with the visual novel?
No, we really don't. We have everything covered. We have the backgrounds, we have the artist, we have the menus, we have the coder. Uh, I am the writer, and I am. Although I sometimes get a little bit insecure. A lot of the people that have been helping us out, for example, I am Julie again. The menu artist has been reading through it, and they like it, and they are not even a Life is Strange fan. So I'm happy with that. We don't need any help. The only thing that I would probably look into in the future is getting an editor just to make sure that we have good stuff planned. Um, and the only thing, and we don't want help. It's not like we are searching for help, but if people are interested, then
Mhm.
they can definitely help us out with translating the game. As I only know Spanish and English, and everyone that I've talked to only knows Spanish and English. So if someone is interested in helping us translate, then for sure we can work with them. However, that's not a necessity, nor is it something that we're actively looking for. However, if people want to help us out, then we're definitely open. We want to reach as much people as possible.
Yeah, yeah, cool. I think there will be, of course, I don't project it, but I think there will be people who will translate it. But we'll see how it progresses. Yeah. So you said you plan on releasing it in the future in different episodes. So are there already dates for releasing it?
The first episode is releasing next Thursday. So the 3rd of March. We wanted to release it on the 3rd of March for two things. First of all, it's March, and we worked on February, so I think that a month is good. And the 3rd of March is my own birthday.
Okay.
And I want to have something cool on my birthday. Like, the game came out, and I'm feeling happy. So that's also a reason why. We were actually thinking about postponing it, but we don't want to postpone. So it's coming out on the 3rd. The first chapter. The first chapter. We're kind of insecure since the first chapter is based a lot, like heavily based on Max herself and Kate. So even if we showed off Victoria, Steph, Warren, Alyssa, and we have like other characters planned, like Mikey, for example,
Mhm.
they won't play an active role in chapter one. That's the one thing that I want to make extremely clear. And I know that people are excited when you mention Steph and Victoria and other characters.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
But the way that the story is structured, we want to have a big focus on Kate and Max during chapter one, since I cannot spoil it, but Kate is mostly not as present during chapter two. Uh, and chapter two has a heavy relies heavily on the other characters like Steph, Victoria, their interactions, how they get along.
Hmm.
So to the people that may not get it, and we'll put out a Tumblr post about this. The game is mostly Marshfield during chapter one. Um, Not necessarily romantic, since we don't want to just make them a couple like right after Chloe's death. Like that doesn't seem fitting to me.
Yeah, right. Mm.
So the game focuses a lot on that. And chapter one is, just, as I said, releasing on March the 3rd. Chapter two, it's already written, as I said earlier. So it will probably come out during April.
Hmm.
Mainly, chapter one is heavy work, as we have to get a lot of the sprites done, and the backgrounds, and the coding. But once we have that done, the bulk of the work is over with. We have that. It will probably release on April. As for chapter three, which is the final chapter,
Hmm.
we have no idea. I mean, it will probably release during June or May. I mean, we can do once a month. It's just that I have a lot of work with my commissions, and grinding is hard. It's not that easy. So we're looking forward to releasing probably during May, probably during June, depending on how things go.
Yeah.
So those are these estimated release episodes. However, again, I'll make it extremely clear: Victoria and the other extra characters are not really, really present in chapter one.
Mm.
I don't want to have people be disappointed. However, once you finish chapter one and you play chapter two, you're going to see a lot of them, a lot of them. So get ready for that.
Yeah, I think, but people will understand that. I think because, as you said, it's of course everyone you see it from the banner that it's a Marshfield story, and of course everyone is excited for Steph and for Victoria and so on, and Mikey. But I think everyone will understand it that it's need to build a base and a foundation to go on with chapter 2 and 3. Then okay, cool. Talking about the community, as you said, you are in a writers or a visual novel community. Talking about more like not about this specific community, but more the community you have on Twitter and Tumblr, and how's the community doing for you? How's the feedback from the people?
In general, for our own community,
Mhm.
we're definitely not a big studio. We have 219 followers, not 18 followers, sorry. Um, but while we may not be really big, that's not exactly like everyone wants to be big. However, having like just people that are passionate about the game, like I can think of a couple people that are always commenting on their posts and they feel like excited about it. We have like some dedicated people that really, really, really like what we're doing. I would say that both communities that we have, Twitter and Tumblr, are doing pretty good. We try to update every day with something. Some days we can't because we're working, we don't have some stuff. We've been updating a lot. However, I believe both communities are doing really good. Twitter is the most active, 100%.
Hmm.
However, it's really interesting on Tumblr. I like seeing the reblogs and the tags that people put. People seem excited, and just seeing some people that are extremely excited about this, it's making us happy. So we believe and we love our community. We may not get a lot of attention every time, but the attention we've been getting is enough for us to feel like this is absolutely worth it.
You're working with some people in the team. Are there any people from your side you may say there are names you want to drop for art you've seen or people you want to work with? You would mention on this podcast?
There's no one that exactly comes to mind. It's just the artists that I've worked on that I believe deserve a lot of attention. Rubik is one of the definitely the one that we would want to shout out the most. She's been like absolutely lovely to work with. She's been really helpful. She's been really communicative with us. So a lot of props to her. Props to Julia too. She's been a really good friend that I've worked with on other stuff, not only on this, but like with songs, with our own streams. It's really fun. However, community artists, I can only think about Redux art. I like their art a lot. But that's about it. I don't. I We are not extremely active in the community. However, we really appreciate them all a lot, even if I cannot think about a lot of them to shout out.
Okay, that's fine. As I said, you have some feedback from the community on Twitter and Tumblr, and other, as you said, they're coming. I haven't seen it because I wasn't at the beginning of the fandom, but as you said, there are also coming up some ship wars or some holy wars about Rachel or whatever, Bay over Bay and so on. So, are there any exceptions yet from the positive feedback, or is it all fine?
Not at all. I mean, surrounding us specifically, everyone's been extremely supportive. I remember posting a screenshot of what the game is looking like, and people absolutely love it.
Hmm.
Everyone loves Rubik's art, so all of the feedback we've gotten is really good. We've had a couple people read our script,
Hmm.
and they like it. They all say that it's like the dialogue is good, and that's all that I care about the most. So the feedback has been really good. Even the whole Rachel, Chloe, Max thing, I've just been watching rather than being an active part of it. It's funny to me. However, the whole feedback we've gotten is really good. The only thing that people are concerned about, that's like the only negative part. Well, I mean, it's not necessarily negative. It's more like it's not praise, nor is it like saying good job. It's just people that are worried. We've gotten, for example, messages by a lot of people asking us if we're not going to get into legal trouble.
Ach so, ja. Mhm.
That's a lot of people have been thinking about that. However, first of all, every fan project is doing the same thing.
Mhm. Correct,
They
yeah.
haven't gotten under any trouble. First of all, we don't own any of the characters. We don't claim to own. We've never done it. Actually, a small story is that the game at first was called Life is Strange After the Storm, and I remember seeing a post about your podcast, and the game in it was Life is Strange After the Storm. Um, so we have to change the name not only because of that, but we didn't want it to sound like official. Like when you say Life is Strange After the Storm, to me it sounds like a official thing. So we've never ever claimed that the game is official or something that we have associated with like Square Enix or Don't Not. All of the characters belong to them, and everything we've been doing legally is parody, even if it's not funny, But we're using the names and the characters in a different context, something transformative, something that is new. So I would not worry about the legal part, as everything we've been doing is pretty much clean. So that's the only negative part that some people have been concerned about. So, but I can say almost like being 100% sure that everything is legal. And in case it is not, then we will probably just have to take everything down, as we don't want to get into any kind of trouble with anyone or make it feel like we're just leeching off of the franchise. We're trying our best to make something new and to make something that people will like, even if they don't like the official games.
Yeah, I don't think that you get in any trouble, but yeah, sure. That's good to hear that you have so much positive feedback. Throwing in critical eye on Life is Strange. Even so, there are some critics about Life is Strange 1, I think, also from my side, that we are missing some main protagonists as people of color. So we now have it as for Life is Strange 2 or in True Colors now, or a more positive depiction of disabled people. So what do you think, what topics are missing or could have been developed more in Life is Strange?
I mean, I don't see why critique it. As a writer myself, it's cool to say like representation matters in every way, in every single way.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't mind it that much. It's clear, like after playing the first game a lot, is that like people of color is definitely not represented a lot. However, I feel like most of the topics are really well developed.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I believe that people are kind of mad about is the depiction of disabled Chloe during chapter 4
Mm-hmm.
and how she's sad, like how it's terrible and she hates her life.
Mm-hmm.
However, see it from a writing standpoint. The thing that the game is trying to prove is that Chloe's death or like misery is not going to get any better. Like depending on any future that Max goes to. To me, the game represents a lot. Like the game is heavy on choices for a reason. Like the choices of a protagonist are going to change everything. However, the game is trying to show you that Chloe's death is basically inevitable, or like her being sad. So to me, I don't mind it as it's part of her character. You know, like that's when Max realizes, hey, I cannot go to San Francisco because she's gonna die alone. I cannot go back to the past because she's gonna die either way, or she's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
terribly sad the entire. I cannot do anything without sacrificing something else. So the game to me is a lot about fate and like sacrificing stuff. So while I believe that the topics of being disabled and probably explaining a little bit more about race and stuff like that, even though that's valid criticism, I believe that the game focuses a lot more on other topics like dealing with trauma, dealing with pain, dealing with the people that you love like not being there anymore. I believe those topics are well represented. And not if we went by that, like Life is Strange doesn't have to represent everything. Like the writers definitely had a they had a focus on what they wanted to write, and that's good. As a writer, even if you have to skip over some smaller topics, if your focus is on telling a story about pain and decisions and consequences, they did great on that. So, although I can see the criticism, I personally don't think it matters that much.
Mm-hmm. As you said, you played Life is Strange 2 Colors already. How does it feel to play Alex? Also, if you compare it to Max and Chloe.
It's That's an interesting one. Mainly, the one that I didn't like playing that much. I don't know. I think I like them all. They all have different feelings. Chloe is definitely a lot more laid back, but in some way, they come across as really similar to me.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that playing Alex was fun, like extremely fun, because the whole mechanic of seeing people's feelings and thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was Max. I believe that, ironically, the one that I had the least fun compared to the others was playing as Max, because the time traveling was fun, but I mean, Chloe gets into fights with people, and that's cool as fuck. And Alex gets to read people's minds. So to me, Playing Alex was extremely fun. She's a really cool protagonist, in my opinion. I like her design. I like her relationship with people, her power. So Alex was incredibly fun, as the game was. I really liked True Colors too.
Yeah, for me it was. I know what you mean with Max. I think I'm not sure. I think it's not canon, and the writers didn't approve it or didn't say it's yes or no. I think Max is for a lot of people, she's neurodivergent, so as like me, so I can relate very good to Max because it seems sometimes she's a little bit cold or doesn't show her feelings or is maybe a little bit step back. And so maybe also because of the missing gestures and facial expressions, which we have now with the remastered version. But I think, yeah, it's different with Chloe and Alex, of course. Sure. Chloe is one of a kind. So, and Alex is absolutely cool with the new with the emotions, seeing the emotions, it's absolutely cool. Yeah, know what you mean. Do you noticed anything that we have now women of color, an Asian American woman of color, as Alex with True Colors? Do you think that there will be a change for people or in the gaming community? Or is it just normal standard now that they say, okay, we have now 2021 and it's normal to have women of color and as a main protagonist?
Normal, honestly. Nowadays, like the age we live on, it's pretty common. You'll see people from like all spheres of life. Um, for example, me personally, I've been seeing a lot of like a great rise in like minorities and like, for example, visual novels. So, for example, there was this big release of this new visual novel during the 14th of February about it was a whole game about not wanting to romance people. Like it was a game about asexual and aromantic people.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, having that representation to me just feels natural.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's worse if people try to make it a selling point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the idea of, oh, the game has this representation, you should buy it. I don't think that's how it should be. Like your game should be able to get sold and have people interested in it before that. However, seeing representation, seeing all of that, to me feels natural, and you know what, that's great. You know, the more representation you have of people in games, the more like they get accepted, So I'm really happy with that, and I believe that pretty it's pretty normal. Uh, so I think that's pretty cool, and some people will definitely feel identified or like be happy that they have someone that represents them in a game. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that was also cool. I found cool at with the Life is Strange 2. So with Sean and Daniel. So yeah, but you will play it. I hope.
Right.
Do you think there are any taboos or red lines in the Life is Strange community fandom?
Definitely anything that has to do with like Jefferson and Max and Nathan with basically anyone.
Yeah, okay.
And I mean, I agree with it personally. I mean, to me, it just seems a little exploitive to have people. I don't know, like having the victim and the abuser shipped together. Like it's kind of romanticizing their problems. So I definitely see where it's coming from, and I kind of agree with it. Although, like for example, one of the people that I know on Twitter is like a heavy Jefferson and Max fan, and I don't discriminate. Like I can see. I mean, it's okay. I don't approve of it. Definitely not personally. I would never even think of them being together. But you know, I mean, if some people are okay with that, and you can disagree with it, but when you get mean with them, that's just you gotta separate what they think about fictional characters and them as a person. People that like those kinds of like exploitative ships, it doesn't mean that they are necessarily bad people, for example. So, although I think that's the biggest red line. The other, I cannot think of any others.
Yeah. Talking about games as art, as you said, Life is Strange is already on out since I think 7 years now, or not, or much longer. What do you think? What Life is Strange had an impact on the gamers community?
As I said, I think it's one of the main representatives of like this kind of telltale game archetype,
Mm-hmm.
as well as I believe that it marks like a really like I don't remember any game at the time that I played that had like this kind of queer representation, like for example the Max and Chloe stuff and some of that stuff. So I think the main impact that it had was representing this kind of sector of people, the sector of a minority, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I found extremely interesting. I found it to be cool because that kind like people under the LGBT sphere, they feel represented, and that was pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that the games did have an impact mainly through like the soundtrack. I really love the soundtrack of the games, the representation, as I already said, having making these kinds of like narrative games become more popular. There's definitely a lot of impact that it had, but mainly on the people. I believe that a lot of people will feel identified by the topics that are shown, like dealing with trauma, dealing with like toxic parents and couples, and that kind of stuff. I found it super cool. Of course, it's mixed in with a little bit of fantasy, like time traveling and stuff. However, seeing all of these other components definitely helps people know that there's a story for everyone. And I believe that Life is Strange is definitely a game that encompasses a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Do you think that it's received outside this community bubble, or is it just inside this queer bubble or inside the gamer bubble, or do you think it's also reaching people outside of that?
Huh. I definitely don't see Life is Strange getting talked about except by people that have already played it. So I don't think that it specially reaches outsiders. It's not the kind of game to break like new ground, except for the first one, like when the first one came out and stuff. However, uh, the people that it does reach, they definitely usually end up in the fandom, and they end up liking it, and they end up playing more. Especially True Colors, I've seen a lot more of like new people play it,
Mm-hmm.
and with the remastered version of the games, a lot of more people are playing it. So, although I believe that back in the day, it did impact a lot of people as having like queer romance be something so normal in the game, and that's something that I applaud. Like when that happened, it didn't get shown as some of like, oh, that's representation, that's super cool. And it was more like, hey, they love each other, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I agree a lot with it having an impact on the inside community. However, the outside, even if they didn't get touched as much with the new releases, I believe that we're going to see more people coming in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I liked it also. That new people are coming to the fan. Yeah. Yeah, talking about the remastered version. So, did you already play it, and how do you like it?
I played a little bit of the first game remaster, and I liked it. I saw a lot of people complain about everything, basically.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Mm-hmm.
The glitches are really noticeable.
Yeah.
But however, looking past that, first of all, I never found any glitch myself. So when I was playing with my boyfriend, however, we really like how it looks. Like it looks extremely good. That's like one of the things that we like the most about True Colors. The game looks beautiful. Like the game looks so fucking good.
Yeah.
However, we liked it. We thought it was cool. I mean, that's for sure. Although some of the only thing that I really didn't like is that they have like this weird fixation for showing the character's teeth when they smile,
I've
and I
seen it
don't know
on.
why they would do that. Right, that just seems a little weird to me.
I know what you mean. Yeah. Mhm.
looking past that, I think it looks good. Uh, if I had to choose which one I would play more, it would be the original.
Mm-hmm.
Only like out of nostalgia, out of how it looks, all of that. However, the remasters are good, and we should see it for what it is. It's like appreciation for an old game that has touched a lot of people, and it's going to get more people into it. So, some people may not get the original experience of the main game's art style, but some of the new expressions look great. And I saw like a little bit of an analysis about like how, the first game on purpose didn't have many super expressive faces
Mm-hmm.
because it's like a game about subtlety and stuff like that. However, the new expressions look really good. So I'm happy to see more of that, more love to the game. And if people don't play the original, that's fine. Some people will only play Life is Strange because of the remasters. We should see that as something to celebrate.
What are your future plans and projects then? So you have already told us about some of your projects, but maybe aside from Life is Strange, so anything for the future planned?
Well, as we said, we wanted to do the Victorian visual novel. However, we were really thinking, and we think we might end up doing it, about making a visual novel for Life is Strange True Colors. So
Okay. Mm-hmm.
we will. We thought about doing something with Rachel and Chloe, but we only really like them. We don't like them as much as like a lot of other ships. So the one thing that we definitely want to do in the future, and I think we will end up doing it, is a visual novel about Alex and Steph.
Mm-hmm.
You guys could definitely look for that. However, if that doesn't end up happening, we will end up. We definitely want to make more visual novels. They are expensive to make. However, seeing it like yesterday, we sat down to play like the first draft of the game, and I'm extremely happy with it. Like seeing the music and the sprites move, like it all really comes down to the satisfaction that it gives us has been amazing. Like posting something and seeing people comment like, "Hey, that looks great. We really like this. Looking forward to playing it." Has been really helpful. So our future plans are definitely to keep going. And we want to do True Colors next. If that doesn't end up happening, then we'll do something original. As I don't want to write stuff about characters that are not mine all the time,
Mm.
because to me that just feels a little. That feels like if we get recognition, I don't want to feel like our studio is only getting recognition because we're using a brand. We wanna feel like our the art, the writing, everything we've done is like liked for what it is, not only because it has the Life is Strange name on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably True Colors next. That's our next project probably.
Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of people will like that. So, any other topics for the future, or if you want to talk about any other thing besides Life is Strange, or doing writing or anything?
Well, any topics? As we go into the future, we definitely want to work more. I want to work more as a writer, and I want to get a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more involved with the community here and there.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing we want is like for a game to be talked about as something really nice. Like, hey, when people recommend a game, like a fan game, we definitely want to be on there.
Mm-hmm.
We just want to get better as code. Like, we want to have, we want to get better at the coding. We want to get better at the writing. We want to work with more people and be able to reach out to more people. And for now, it's just about being strong. Probably it sounds really dramatic, but writing, doing all the writing, the editing, and managing the project is stressful.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to keep doing it regardless of how stressful it is. And we want to make something that people like. We want to make something that people feel happy about. Um, so in the future, we just want to make stuff that people like. We want to get better at what we do. and we want to have more involvement with people.
Yeah, cool. I think I don't know how the visual novel will look like, but sure, we've seen some, as you said, some screenshots and sprites and so on. I think the people will like it nevertheless. I don't mean that
Right.
that they will like everything, but I think the Life is Strange community is also very can be very picky, but I think they will like it. So, and I totally like it that you have such dedication for your project and so much love. And I think it will come back to you, of course, I think. So yeah, we are excited to see it. As we are reaching the end of the show, is there anything you want to say to the community or give advice for potential artists or anything you want to share?
Well, obviously, we want to say thank you to the people that have been supportive of us, be it by just showing nice comments or like just retweeting here and there, giving us a like, stuff like that. So a big thanks to everyone that has been able to like show us their support, regardless, for people that are interested in our stuff. That really means a lot to us, and it helps us move forward. I cannot like explain how nervous we were at the beginning. We didn't think we would get people to like it, but then we got our first 50 followers, and 100, then 200. We even got like the Kate voice actor to say that she was like that she really liked the art. So like those little moments that definitely make us feel thankful for the community that we've been given. So thanks to everyone who's like shows us their love, their support, and hopefully to everyone that plays the game, uh, and that sticks with us not only through chapter one, but to the end of it. And to the people that may only play it and just be like, "Hey, this is not for me, but this is cool," Um, as well as advice to any writers, myself as a writer, you don't have to be extremely recognized, and you don't have to always feel confident over your products. It's not easy
Mm-hmm.
to be a writer. However, I can say that writing is some of the most fun that I've ever had. If you're an artist, if you're a writer, keep working with what you do. Maybe you're more of an original writer. Maybe you don't do visual novels and you do like plays or movies or whatever. So keep pushing through that. You'll always get better and get people to read it. It's hard to like write something and send it to someone. Like whenever I do that, I feel really nervous. And learn how to take a compliment. It's easy to feel like people are just saying it to make you feel nice, but trust me, people will tell you if there's something wrong with stuff. I've experienced it firsthand. So keep pushing through that. And artists, I really like working with artists, and I really hope that we see more unique art styles. I've been seeing a lot of them, and some artists that feel stressed, that don't feel good about their work. But trust me, there's someone out there that will always like your stuff, regardless if you think it's terrible or really good. So keep pushing forward with whatever you do.
Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, thanks for being on the show and giving all the insights from your personal view and from the team and the visual novel. So yeah, we are totally excited for seeing it in the next week. And yeah, I hope we can talk in the future maybe, and we'll see the future visual novels or whatever you planned or will do in the future. So yeah, thanks for being here, and yeah, all the best for your visual novel then.
Thank you very much.
I know this is a hard cut, but I think we also need a kind of normality and things to distract us, even if this may sound harsh and cold, but we are all humans. This time I will interview Biscuit from Retrozone Studios, and we will talk about their upcoming visual novel Life is Strange Aftermath, which will be published soon, and of course all things Life is Strange. This time there will be no news section. Kudos again to Christina, as known as Riley Hawk, for letting me use her Life is Strange inspired music for the podcast, R3 Tios for the new podcast cover, and Olya Rue for the original cover. Now to the interview with Biscuit. This episode will come to an end now. You can send in your questions you have via email or Twitter to me. Of course, you can also send me wishes for future interviews and topics. Due to the release of the visual novel Life is Strange Aftermath on March 3rd, I will publish this episode early, as you will recognize, despite the last announcement I made to do it on the first March weekend. Thanks for listening to my podcast and spread the word. See you soon in and around Arcadia Bay, Puerto Lobos or Haven. Yours truly, Marty.